Hey guys, welcome back for another class. Today we're going to be doing a heart opening class, and if you've done my yin class from this week as well, I mentioned that the heart opening practices tend to have the same effect in the physical body as they have in the rest of kind of your emotional and mental state. So if anything comes up for you in this class, it is totally normal. You are not the only one, just let it go. So we'll start off just in a comfortable seat with your eyes closed. Take a moment here just to connect with the breath. Provide a little bit of length through the spine, the crown of your head lifting towards the ceiling or the sky if you're outside. Feel your breath moving into your belly. Ujjayi is something you're familiar with, or maybe you've learned a bit about and you want to try it out. Now is the time. That little bit of constriction through the throat, breathing in and out through the nose. Trying to slow the inhale and the exhale down. Take one more round of breath. Gently start to blink open the eyes. We're going to do some seated cat-cows. So bring your hands to your knees. As you breathe in, start to squeeze your shoulder blades, shine open your chest. Bring your chin to your chest, push your upper back away as you breathe out. Inhale, squeeze the shoulder blades, look up. Tuck the chin, push that space between your shoulders to the back wall. Keep this going with your breath. Just 3 more like this. As slow as you need to move, as slow as you're breathing. Your hands can slide up and down your legs if you need to. Try and overemphasize this movement as much as you can. Once you've done those 3 breaths at your own pace, start to interlace your fingers behind your back. Breathe in, open up through the front line. Hold this here just for a couple of breaths, but really overemphasize that opening through the chest. One more big breath in. Release. Interlace your fingers. Push the palms of your hands forward and push your upper back towards the back wall. You're trying to create as much space from this point between your shoulders to your hands. Every time you breathe out, maybe you go a little deeper. Slowly back to neutral. Bring your hands to the earth. Come into a tabletop shape. Just a breath in here. Tuck the toes, downward facing dog as you breathe out. Our first one of the day, you can pedal out the legs if you need to. This might be the first one of the day. This could be like your 3rd class of the day. If that's the case, good on you. But any movements you need here, just make sure they're really mindful. Yeah, bend your knees as much as you need. Notice India's legs aren't totally locked out here because she's spinning her sitting bones up towards the sky. That's what we're trying to work on here. Pushing the earth away, creating that length through the hamstrings, but we get that from creating this V shape through the hips, not just straightening through the legs. Take one more breath out. Start to walk the hands back to the feet. Land in a ragdoll forward fold. Again here, bend through the knees as much as you need. The sitting bones going up is what we're working towards. Then let the head and shoulders hang really heavy down to the ground. Let your belly rest on your thighs. Still this hinging at the hips, and this is a good kind of thing to remember. Anytime we fold forward, we want to think hinge at the hips, not rounding through the lower back. Just one more breath out here. Start to rise up to standing. Roll up, take your time, there's no rush, but when you get there, roll your shoulders back. Urdhva Hastasana, as you breathe in, reach up, fold back over, breathe out. Come to a halfway lift, so pull the crown of your head forward. We want a flat lower back, then walk your hands out until you land into a high plank. Take a breath out. Good. Now you guys know you can always modify, so if you need to shift forward, drop your knees down, really good option. Or you stay in the knees lifted variation, but either way there's 3 movements I want you to take. That space between your shoulders, push it towards the sky. Yeah, so you're puffing up your upper back, keep that engagement. Pull your collarbones forward. So you're pushing away, you're opening up your chest, then tuck your tailbone down and under. Yeah, those 3 little bits of engagement are going to give you this really long, straight, strong line. Good. Start to shift forward as you breathe in. Drop your knees if you haven't already. Lower all the way down to the ground. Bring your arms down by your sides. And you get straight into it. We're coming into Shalabhasana or locust pose. So with your arms reaching down past your feet, squeeze your shoulder blades together, the head, the chest, the shoulders lift up off the mat. The toes can come up, but I don't know if you can see here, India's legs are squeezing towards each other, just like her shoulder blades. Yeah, and she's not trying to look up. She's trying to create length from toes to crown of the head. Now take one more big breath in here. Release down, breathe out. Take a moment here. Shoulders round over. You're going to be lifting up, and you can take a baby cobra or an up dog. So on your breath in, lift up. Downward facing dog, breathe out. Take a breath out. Lift the right heel up to the sky, 3-legged dog, inhale. Knee to nose, tiger curl as you breathe out. Lift back up in. Keep your hips square. One more tiger curl. Push the ground away, step between your hands, crescent lunge. And you can take either variation. You can take a straight leg or a bent back leg, but either way you're tucking the tailbone under, you're trying to bring the belly button towards the spine. Yeah. Whichever leg variation you want, totally up to you. Understand what they do though. Yeah, when you've got a bent back leg, you're getting into your deeper hip flexors. When it's straight, you're getting into your top hip flexors. Whatever you think is best for you today. Take one more breath in. Cactus your arms, breathe out. It's like 2 stop signs. Open up your chest, inhale, squeeze the shoulder blades. Close over, bring your forearms together, push this space away. Open up, breathe in. Close over, breathe out. Stork pose, ground that right foot, lift the left knee. A few breaths in this stillness, in this balance. Feel those little movements through the right foot. Belly button in towards spine. Take one more breath in here. Dekasana. Breathe out. This lifted leg is strong and straight. You can have a little bend in the standing leg, totally fine. But the engagement through this top leg is what's going to stabilize this whole lower half. So think about kicking that heel through the back wall just for one more breath out. Half moon, stack the left hip on top of the right. Good, now that's only a small movement, but it takes a lot of engagement through the hip, through the core to come to this shape. If you want to have your right hand on a block, have your right hand on a block. Take one more big breath in. Slowly the left foot meets the right, forward fold, breathe out. Halfway lift, crown of head lifts, length through the spine. Chaturanga, breathe out. It's that low plank. Up dog, inhale, push the ground away, or cobra. Downward facing dog, breathe out. Now before we go any further, that chaturanga up dog, down dog is always optional. If you want to go straight back to down dog, totally fine, it's your practice. We'll start to take the left side, heel lifts as you breathe in. Tiger curl, breathe out. Lift the leg back up, inhale. Knee to nose on the breath out, step between your hands, crescent lunge. Again, take whichever variation in the back leg you would like, just make sure it's the same on either side. And now if you've done heaps of crescent lunge this week, maybe you want to play around with a straight leg variation, totally fine. Just keep the belly button moving in towards the spine. Take one more breath. Cactus your arms, breathe out. Open up, a little back bend, keep the core engaged, close over, push that space between your shoulders away, open up, breathe in. close over, breathe out. Start to ground that left foot, stork pose, breathe in. Again, catch the balance. Want this straight line from that standing heel through the hips, through the spine, through the fingertips. Just make sure you're not leaning backwards or forwards to stabilize that weight. Keep the core on, use those little muscles in your foot. Take one more breath in. Send the right heel back, Dekasana, aeroplane pose. That's what you're more familiar with. Try and keep the hips square here. They're going to open up in a minute. Pushing this right heel through the back wall, squeezing shoulder blades together. One more breath out. Half moon. Now we open up through the hips. Feel the right hip stack on top of the left. I want you to get this feeling here that somebody's got a hold of each one of your limbs and they're pulling them apart from each other. One more breath in. Right foot meets left, release down. Uttanasana, forward fold, breathe out. Come up through a halfway lift. Plant your hands, down dog or chaturanga, breathe out. Nice. Up dog, breathe in. Then let the hips lift you up and back, downward facing dog. Now comes the flow, one breath, one movement. As always, if you're breathing a little faster or a little slower, totally fine. Stay at that pace, just fit the movement into the breath. We'll take an exhale all together. Start to lift the right heel up, three-legged dog. Just one tiger curl, breathe out. Crescent lunge, rise up, use the whole inhale. Cactus your arms, breathe out. Open up through the chest, squeeze shoulder blades, close over, breathe out. Again, open up, breathe in. Close over, bring the forearms together, ground that right foot, stork pose, lift. Send that left heel through the back wall. Engage core, engage hips, half moon, wobbles are good. Left foot meets the right, fold down, breathe out. Halfway lift, lift the crown up. Plant the hands, your flow. So that could be down dog, that could be stepping or jumping back to chaturanga. We'll meet everyone back in downward facing. Left heel lifts up straight away, breathe in. Knee to nose, pushing the ground away so you can step through. That's how you get that space. Crescent lunge, rise up. Cactus arms, breathe out. Squeeze shoulder blades, open up through chest, big breath in, then close over on the breath out. Open up, inhale, still breathing into the belly, close over, breathe out, belly button to spine, stork pose, rise up. Send that right heel through the back wall, try and keep the hips square here, then stack right on top of left, Ardha Chandrasana, half moon. Uttanasana, forward fold, breathe out. Crown of head away from hips, halfway lift, then plant the hands, chaturanga, breathe out. Up dog, thighs are off the ground. I don't know if you can see that in India. Down dog, breathe out. Straight away, right heel lifts, inhale. Knee to nose, pushing the ground away, crescent lunge. Stay with your variation. You can change it up if you want to. Cactus arm. Open up through the chest, core stays on, close over, breathe out. Open up, breathe in, close over. On the exhale, pushing the shoulders away, stork, catch the balance. Then send that left heel towards the back of the room, engage. Half moon, breathe in, limbs away from each other, then release down, forward fold, breathe out. Halfway lift, engage those muscles through the lower back, plant the hands, chaturanga or straight back to down dog. If you're in up dog, push the ground away, tops of feet into the earth, down dog, breathe out one more time on the left, heel rises up slowly using the whole breath, take the knee to the nose. Breathe out, crescent lunge, lift up, whole breath in. Cactus arm. Open up through the chest, squeeze the shoulder blades, then close over. Breathe out, open up, inhale, use that whole breath. Use the whole breath out to close over. Ground the left foot, stalk pose, catch the balance. Right knee lifts up, then send the right heel through the back wall on the exhale. Stack right hip on top of left. Ardha Chandrasana, wobbles are good. Right foot meets left, breathe out. Halfway lift in. Your flow, however you need to get back. If you are in up dog, push the toes into the earth. Down dog, breathe out. It's really, really good. So take a moment here, a little bit of stillness. Notice how your body feels in this resting, active resting pose compared to where it did at the start. Maybe you're a little more open. See, notice India's legs here, they're a little straighter. Maybe that's the case for you, maybe not. It's all good. Take a breath out. Come high up on the toes, breathe in. Bend the knees, breathe out. Jump the feet outside of the hands, Malasana. Breathe out. Now, because we're working on opening up the chest, in every posture, that's what we want to bring our attention to. So even here, think about squeezing shoulder blades, opening up through the collarbones, through the chest. So what that means is you can't come down to this passive depth where you're rounding over. If you need to lift up a little bit higher so you can keep your spine really straight and your heart open, awesome. Go there. Yeah, I'd much rather see that than this passive rounding over. Inactivity. Just a few more breaths here. Yeah, this is a really good posture just to rest at, just throughout your day. Yeah, even if you can't fit in a yoga class, this is amazing for your hips, your spine, just if you want a little something to open. Just make sure knees and toes are in line, the crown of the head is lifting up. Take one more breath out here. Right foot stays, step the left foot back, lizard lunge, breathe in. Even here, opening up through the chest. You can drop your back knee down if you need to, or you can keep it lifted, but either way, the hips start to sink down, the chest opens up, squeeze shoulder blades together. Take one more breath in here. Skandasana, breathe out, keep the hips as low as you can as you move back. Now just like in Malasana, I think half Malasana. The leg that's bent, the knees and toes are going in the same direction, and the straight leg, the knees and toes are going in the same direction. Open up through your chest. Don't sink down so far that you're rounded over. Keep that length through the spine. Take one more breath out here. Stay low through this transition. Extended arrowhead. Breathe in. Now here, you're high up on the back toe. Reaching up and forward. And again, open through the chest. Biceps by ear. Not resting the belly on the thigh. One more breath in here, warrior two. Keep this front knee in line with the toes. Breathe out. Relax the shoulder. Now, even though we're opening up the front line here, we want to make sure we're not dumping into the lower back. So tuck that sacrum down and up. Make sure the weight's going down and back through the blade edge of that back foot. Take one more exhale. Reverse warrior, breathe in. Step the back foot forward, land in Malasana, breathe out. Now that one might require a little fancy footwork. But again, land here, spine straight, knees and toes in the same direction. We'll take it on the other side. Take a breath out. Right foot goes back, lizard lunge, breathe in. Now again, you can take the knee to the ground, but just make sure you're taking the same variation as above. Hips sinking down, chest opening up. And when I say hips sinking down, you're not going passive by any stretch. You're keeping that engagement. You're just letting that weight draw them down so you can open up through the hip flexors on the back leg. Take one more breath in. Keep your hips as low as you can. Skandasana over the back leg, the right leg as you breathe out. Opening up through the chest. Squeeze the shoulder blades towards each other. Like somebody's got a string lifting the crown of your head up. One more breath out. Extended arrowhead, reach up and forward, high up on the right toe. There is a long straight line from that right heel, hips, shoulders, fingertips, reaching up and forward. Keep the core engaged, keep the belly lifted off that left leg. One more breath. Warrior two, breathe out, ground down the back edge. Keep that right knee exactly where it is. That doesn't have to move through that transition. Shoulders relax, but still really strong. One more breath out. Reverse, lift the left arm up, breathe in, then step the right foot forward. Malasana, breathe out. We're going to flow this through one breath, one movement. Take an exhale. Step the left foot back, lizard lunge, breathe in, sink the hips down. Skandasana, keep them low as you move back, but keep the chest open. Extended arrowhead, reach up and forward, high up on the left toe, then warrior two, right knee is going to stay exactly where it is. Reverse, lengthen through that left side body, breathe in, then step the left foot up. Breathe out. Right foot back, lizard lunge, inhale, open up the collarbones. Skandasana, breathe out. Reach up and forward, extended arrowhead, length, heels to fingers, warrior two, breathe out, heavy through this back edge. Reverse warrior, reach the left arm up, step the right foot forward. Malasana out one more time. Left foot steps back, lizard lunge, breathe in. Skandasana, low, slow, breathe out. Then reach up and forward, inhale, extended out. Virabhadrasana 2, breathe out. Reverse, stay deep in the legs, don't lift the hips up. Malasana, forward, breathe out. One more time, right foot steps back, lizard lunge. Skandasana, breathe out. Reach up and forward, inhale. Warrior 2, breathe out. Reverse, lift up the left arm, Malasana, breathe out. And move straight into an arm balance. You can stay here, you can stay in Malasana. This is a really good place to rest, and a lot of the time when we do our arm balances, this is bus stop number 1. Just want to shift back. Good. You are more than welcome to stay here. If you want to come into crow, bakasana or kakasana, bring your hands out in front, squeeze the mat. Number 1 thing, engagement through the hands. That's going to protect your wrists. Start to lift your hips up. You can walk your feet in. Bring your knees as close to your armpits as you can get it, or inside of knees to elbows. Then you're going to start to shift forward. Maybe your feet magically come off the ground. And I say magically because when we shift, we don't jump. That's how we're going to get to this pose, by letting our body know that it can do it. Yeah, if we just jump, we kind of fall in and out. We don't have that. Our body doesn't have that trust. When we shift, we know we can get there. Yep, look forward. Your body is going to go wherever your eyes go. Really good. Yeah? If you feel uncomfortable having your knees on your triceps, India is going to demonstrate what another variation of this looks like, where you bring your inner knees to your elbows. You're not going to be able to get as high up off the earth. But you're going to have a lot more surface area. It's going to give you that feeling, bringing weight into your hand. So as always, with these recorded classes, the beautiful thing is you can pause it, you can play around as long as you want. When you're ready, you can come back to Malasana, roll out the wrists. Start to come to a tabletop shape. Keep your hips directly over your knees. Start to bring your arms out long in front. We're coming into Anahatasana. Puppy pose, melting heart pose. When we keep hips over knees, we're creating a high point. Keep the hands engaged. Actually trying to keep your elbows off the ground so this here can start to sink down to the earth. Yeah, we get this opening through the heart, through the shoulders. If you want a little more, pretend you have cupcakes under your hands. Yep, see that engagement? See how that creates a higher point here too, so the chest can sink down towards the earth. Just a few more breaths, letting the heart melt down. Every breath out, sink down a little bit deeper. One more breath here. Start to push back to that regular tabletop as you breathe in. Downward facing dog as you breathe out. Again, as we land here, notice the difference. If you need to pedal out the legs, pedal out the legs. But you're really mindful of every movement you take. Take a breath out. Start to lift the right heel up towards the sky. Lizard lunge as you breathe out, so that knee comes to the armpit, footsteps outside of the hand. Again, here, drop your knee down if you need to. We're not going to be here for too long, just a couple of breaths. Just one more breath here. Start to take the right toes out at about a 45-degree angle. The knee's going to follow along with it. Push down into the left hand, lift the right up as you breathe in. Either take that right hand to reach the left foot, or you can take it to the inside of the right knee and just gently encourage it out. Either way, that right knee is moving to the side. And if you can, reach back, grab the left foot. Now, regardless of where you are, let your hips sink down and forward. Again, you're not turning off. Yeah, there's still this engagement, but you're just letting them be heavy, letting gravity move them towards the earth. That sinking of the hips forward is what gives you the opening through the hip flexors on the back leg, in this case the left one. We're already opening the adductors on the inside of that right leg. Just make sure you're pushing the ground away with the left hand. Start to spin your chest towards the right side. There's a lot going on in this pose, so if you're feeling heaps of sensation, you are not alone, don't worry. Just 2 more breaths. Yeah, be with that sensation. Yeah, use that inhale and exhale to not get carried away by it. Slowly start to release left leg. Hands underneath shoulders, push back to a downward facing dog. Left heel lifts up, breathe in. Coming through that wide tiger curl, the knee to the armpit, step the left foot outside, lizard lunge. Again, knee can be lifted or down, up to you. A few breaths here. Keep the chest opening up. Hips start to sink down. Just 1 more breath. Start to take the toes out towards the side. Notice how your knee followed along. Push down with the right hand, either encouraging the knee out to the side gently or reaching up and back to grab a hold of the right foot. Pushing the ground away, make sure you're not dumping into the front of that shoulder that's on the earth. Keep it hugging back, shoulder blades hugging towards each other. Let the left knee move out to the side, let the hips sink down and forward. More breaths. If you want a little more, you can engage that right. Start to release. Step back, downward facing dog. Right heel lifts up to the sky. Bring your right knee to your right elbow and your right ankle to your left wrist. Make it a half pigeon. Now, if you immediately feel discomfort in your right knee, roll onto your back, take a figure 4 shape. Okay? You're going to get the same sensation through the outer hip. you're in half pigeon, the first movement is length up through the spine. Good. If your hips feel uneven, put a block or a pillow, a bolster, maybe even under your right glute. Yeah? Try and keep your hips square. Now you can stay with half pigeon, but we're pretty open, so if you want to try coming into mermaid, and he's going to show you how to get there. You bend through the left leg, take the foot into the elbow crease. The right arm is going to lift up behind the head. Maybe you grab a hold of the hand. Good. Now this does require a little bit of a back bend. Yeah, we're pretty open for that, but you're trying to keep your hips as square as you can. You do not have to take this variation. You can still be in half pigeon. Now from here, you can start to fold forward. Just make sure you lift up first and release down to the ground. Allowing this opening through the right outer hip. If you're in the figure 4 shape, just make sure you're flexing the toes on the top foot. Breath, fluid, even as we move into these more static postures, it's really common that we lose that fluidity that we had when we were moving. Yeah, we want to keep it from start to finish. All the way until we land in Shavasana, that's when we can let it go. But until then, try and keep it consistent. Try and have that flow. Just one more round of breath. Start to push down into the earth. If you can, push back to downward facing dog. Now the other side, the left heel lifts up, breathe in. Left knee to the left elbow, take the left ankle to the right wrist. Again, if there is pain in your knee, discomfort in your knee, in the actual joint, roll into your back, take a figure 4. Again, you can play around with mermaid if you'd like. Yeah, you don't have to do any of this. This is your practice. Take whatever variations are going to serve you. But again, it's just the fact that this requires a bit of a back bend. We're open for that. Just try and keep the hips as square as you can in whatever variation you are in. Before you fold forward, make sure there is length through the spine. Then start to take the chest towards the earth. Same as before, a block under now the left glute is a really good option to try and keep the hips square. Just a few more breaths here, release down if you can. One more breath. Start to push back up. Just roll off to the left side, swing the legs out in front, lay down on your back. Now before we go where we are going, we want to encourage a little bit of core engagement, so send your legs out long. Bring your hands by your side, grab them tight, legs hug towards each other. We're coming into a low boat, so all you're doing is lifting your shoulders, lifting your feet. Yeah, try and keep your lower back on the ground. Engage through your core. This is rock hard. Indy's gonna like that compliment. Good, please keep breathing here. Yeah, even though the core is engaged, everything is turned on, keep that breath moving in and out as much as you can. One more in, I'm getting a dirty look, release down, breathe out. Take a second. Yeah, we just want to encourage this engagement before we go to where we're going. Start to bend through your knees. Bring your feet sitting bones distance apart, not quite hip distance, sitting bones distance. Make sure they're close enough to where you can reach down and brush your heel. Coming into bridge pose, so start to push down into your heels, hips lift up, lower back, upper back. When you get to the top, roll your shoulders underneath. Now you can do what India's doing here and interlace your fingers. You can take robot arms, or if you're pretty tight through your shoulders, one of the best things you can do is grab the edges of your mat. Yeah, bring in a little more engagement, then you can push into the upper arms. You want to take as much weight out of the neck as possible, so you want to be pushing down through the feet, down through the shoulders, lifting the hips up, and gently hugging the knees towards each other. They don't need to touch, but we just want to make sure they don't splay out. Take 2 more breaths. 1 more in. Slowly release down to the earth, windscreen wipe with the knees, side to side. Now we have 2 more back ones. You can stay with bridge, or you can move towards wheel, which we have pretty open for. India's generously volunteered to do 2 wheels. If you want to have a look at what it looks like first, awesome. Beauty of these live videos, you can always, these recorded videos, you can always rewind. When we're coming into this shape, just like we would bridge, we're coming up, pushing into the heels, getting to the shoulders, but when we get there, take your hands either side of your head, fingers are going to be facing your feet. Just like you push into your feet, you're pushing into your hands, lift straight up. Notice India didn't come to her head first. She pushed straight up. Just like the knees hug in, the elbows hug in. Yeah? Hips up, chest is moving back. Keep that core engagement. We don't want to dump into the lower back. We want this nice, consistent arch. So please keep breathing here. Just for 1 more in, chin comes to chest. That's the first thing we do, then land on the shoulders. And we roll down through the rest of the back, windscreen wipe the knees. We've got 1 more. And again, as always, bridge is a beautiful option. If you want to stay there, stay there. But when you're ready, start to push into your heels, lift up. Maybe you come up into wheel, maybe you come into bridge. You can go bridge, wheel, bridge, yeah? However you want to do it, it's totally up to you. Just keep the knees hugging in. Pushing the ground away, either with your feet and your shoulders or your feet and your hands. No matter where you are, that bend through the back is consistent. When you come down, chin to chest, shoulders to the earth. Windscreen wipe at the knees. Maybe now you hug them into your chest. You can bring your chin to your knees, round over as much as you can. Yeah, that wheel, that's full extension for most people, as much as they can get through their spine. So if you now want that full flexion, roll over in a little ball, awesome. Take it. Whatever you need to come back. Start to rock and roll up and down until you come to a seat. Bring your legs out wide. Make sure you're high up on your sitting bones here. Yeah, if you feel like you're rounding through your lower back, sit up on a block. Start to bring your right arm to the inside of your right leg. Use that to spin the chest over. From there, reach the left arm up and over, past this right foot. You're not trying to just dump over through the side body and reach the foot, you're trying to reach past it. Yeah, so it's like somebody's got your wrist. They're pulling length through the left side of the body. You're trying to create as much length from the left wrist to the left hip as you can. 1 more big breath in. Slowly back through center, we move to the other side. Left arm to the inside of the left leg. The right arm reaches up and over. Yeah, how do we lengthen anything? We take 1 point away from the other. So you're trying to keep that right hip heavy on the ground. Take this right armpit away from the hip. Reaching past that left foot. 1 more breath in. Slowly back through center. Again, readjust if you need to make sure the spine is straight. On an inhale, lift up. Hinge at the hips. Remember that from the beginning. Then chest towards the earth. Release down to the mat. Try and keep your toes facing upwards here. The reason we don't want to let them round in is then we can put pressure on the inside of the knees. We want to avoid that. I want to keep this sensation in the back of the legs so the toes are spinning up, chest is leading towards the earth, and guys, do not worry if you are not as deep in this as India. She is super open. You could just be sitting up straight. As long as you're getting sensation in the back of the legs, that's all right. Take one more breath. Slowly start to lift back up. Bring your feet together. Paschimottanasana. We're going to take the active version. So sit high up on the sitting bones, lengthen through the spine. We're hinging at the hips. Chest towards the toes. Keep your back straight as long as you can. You can bend your knees if you need to, but that straight lower back is what's going to keep the sensation in the middle of the hamstring muscle. Good. If you want more here, you can flex the toes, but make sure you push this big toe mound forward. Again, we're trying to take the sitting bones back, heels forward. And start to let the breath take over. Every time you breathe in, feel your midsection expand. Breathing down to the bottom of your lungs, into your belly. It's going to be really noticeable. You're going to feel it get bigger. And when you breathe out, you're going to move into that space that belly, that midsection has created. Just 3 more rounds of breath. Actively use that inhale. Sink down as you breathe out 2 more times. And sink into the space. Last breath out to release down. Start to lift back up. On an inhale, lay down on your back. We're coming into Viparita Karani. So if you have a prop, place it underneath your hips. If you don't, you can just turn your hands into fists. Place them underneath your hips. Lift the soles of your feet towards the earth. Yeah, all we're trying to do is lift the hips a little higher than the heart. Activate our parasympathetic nervous system. If you haven't closed your eyes yet, now's the time. Start to turn off, start to relax. Almost at the end of our journey. Breath in and out is still moving. Maybe there's a little less force now. You're still aware of it. It's still active. You don't need to push it as much. Maybe you're just taking over at the edge of the breath so it stays full. One more round of breath. Slowly bring your feet back to the earth. Remove your hands. Hug your knees into your chest, a big loving. Keep the right knee hugging in, send the left leg out. You're going to take the right knee over to the left side. Adjust your hips to the right. That's going to keep your leg and your spine all in one line. Try and keep your shoulders heavy to the ground. Don't worry if your knee doesn't come all the way to the earth. Now here, every time you breathe out, release a little bit more. Feel the belly get bigger on the inhale. Feel that twist, that release. On the breath. 2 more breaths. Slowly back to center. Hug your knees back in, readjust your hip. Right leg goes long, left knee to the right side. Take your hips over to the left. Shoulders are heavy. This isn't a forcing the knee to the earth. This is a release, an active release. Letting everything go. The body is going to take itself where it needs to be. Last breath. Slowly back towards center. Bring the soles of your feet towards each other. Let your knees fall out wide. Supta Konasana. The closer your heels are to your hips, the more intense the sensation is going to be. So if you want a little less, take them away from your body. Bring your hands to your belly. This is our last posture with any control over the breath, any sense. Forcing the in and out. So bring all your awareness there. Don't worry about your legs, gravity will take care of that. Bring your attention to the floor. So gently draw the air in. The belly, the lungs. It's just a little active squeezing of the air out. Allow everything to be heavy. Eyes are heavy. Your hands on your belly heavy, your knees towards the earth heavy. Ground. You can stay here for as long as you need, but when you're ready, Shavasana awaits, our final resting pose. Send your legs out long. Keep your hands on your belly or bring them down by your side. Let go of the breath, let go of the practice, let go of whatever you are holding on to. Spend this whole class opening up the heart, opening up the front line. Now is the opportunity to be with whatever's come up for you. And trust that it's what's meant to come up. Trust that it's what is meant to be there for you. And allow yourself to be with it. Just as it served its purpose, as the way of the breath and the practice, let that go too. Start to bring some awareness back to your breath. Start to just notice that rise and fall of the belly. No control, just watching. Start to take some small movements in your fingers, in your toe. As that desire to movement starts to grow, keep your eyes closed, but find yourself rolling to your favorite side. Stay here as long as you need. When you feel as though the time is right, start to move towards a comfortable seat. With your hands at your heart in angelic movement. Take a moment to not just acknowledge your practice, but also the practice of all of those people who have done this class and are going to do this class. As always, I leave you with what Maharaji left Ram Das. Love everybody, tell the truth. Namaste.
Namaste.
As always, thank you so much, guys. Appreciate you coming on here and practicing with us. If you have any questions, shoot us a message. Been getting some awesome comments on how people have been going. We love it. Thank you so much. Keep those coming as well. Yeah. Don't be afraid, guys, to post in that community chat. See how other people are going. You can learn as much, if not more, from the other people doing this practice as you can from us. Thank you so much, guys. See you next time.
We miss you.